Amazon Games have just dropped a bombshell announcement. A brand new MMORPG set in Tolkien's Middle-earth is now being developed. In this video, I'm going to take a closer look at this announcement and give you everything we know so far about this new game. First, let's take a look at the announcement and also take a look at who will be developing the game. Amazon Games tweeted that they are excited to announce our collaboration with Embracer Group and Middle-earth Enterprises for our upcoming MMORPG based on the iconic The Lord of the Rings property, alongside a link to an article with more information. We learn that the game is in early stages of production with Amazon Games Orange County leading development. If you recognise this studio, this is because they were behind the MMO game New World. Now, the Embracer Group are a holding company owning studios that have brought us games such as Valheim, Saints Row, Tomb Raider and Borderlands. I think it's safe to say that development will get a lot of money and funding pumped into it. This announcement does come with some controversy, however, but we will touch on this later. So what do we know about the game so far? The game is in the very early stages of production at the moment, but we do know some key details. Probably the most important thing that we know is that it will be a massively multiplayer online game. This is a step away from the survival theme of the recently announced The Lord of the Rings Return to Moria and the single player aspects of the Middle-earth Shadow of War and Mordor games. It looks like we are headed more back to the basics of the old Lord of the Rings online game, where players could create an avatar and explore Middle-earth fighting non-player monsters. It's super exciting to hear that an online Lord of the Rings game with modern graphics is on the way, as many fans love the old Lord of the Rings online game. Christoph Hartmann, Vice President of Amazon Games, has said that bringing players a fresh take on the Lord of the Rings has long been an aspiration for our team. He also goes on to say that we're taking every care to deliver an MMO which will do justice to the expansive Middle-earth universe and delight players around the world. Hopefully this means that players can explore all of the areas in Middle-earth and maybe even beyond, given the capacity of the developers. In terms of any story, the article confirms that the game will feature the beloved stories of The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Hopefully this means that some characters we love from the books and films will make an appearance. However, I think it is too early to really speculate on specifics. As mentioned in the article, launch timing is still a mystery, which I expect will be years in the future. And the game is still untitled and in early stages of production. If the game's development could be compared to the Tolkien timeline, I'd say we are not even in the first stage yet, so we have a long road ahead. Despite the fact that the game is in early development and we don't know much, it's still super exciting. As a fan of the lore and books and films, new Tolkien content is music to my ears, especially a new game. A massively multiplayer open world game where we can customise our own character is even better. I think we all have tons of questions about this announcement, but now I'm going to run through some key things I would love to see in the game and want the game to get right. First off is the world design and graphics. There is no reason why we should not get to see Middle-earth in a huge map, packed with all different regions and places of lore for us to explore, given the type of budget this game will have. I really hope we will get to see some amazing graphics that will take advantage of the new advancements in games design since the last Middle-earth RPGs. I also really hope they get the scale of the map right. A game about Tolkien's Middle-earth should have a map and world which is just as epic as the films and books illustrate. I hope we do not have just one area, such as Gondor or maybe Mordor, but rather many, and maybe even all of Middle-earth. We saw glimpses that this was possible in Shadow of War, where the map incorporated different aspects of Mordor, and even Gondor. Building on this to make an even larger map would be great, and I hope the game goes in this direction. Another thing I want the game to get right is customization. In the older Lord of the Rings online game, there were 4 playable races: dwarves, elves, hobbits, and men. There were also 7 classes: burglar, captain, champion, guardian, hunter, lawmaster, and minstrel. I would love to see this developed more and expanded upon in this new game. Maybe even add playable races such as goblins and orcs on top of more classes. Of course, solid customization is a given for any good RPG, so hopefully the developers recognise this. I also hope that the developers recognise the importance of the lore and do not pile the game full of studio created quests with no grounding in the lore. There is so much depth and breadth to Middle-earth that this simply isn't needed. There are an abundance of smaller characters and relatives of characters that we should be able to do quests for, so I hope they lean into this and do not just make up a bunch of random people. As for the main characters, we should should see them. The article stated that the game will feature the beloved stories of The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings. From this, I think we can assume that the timing will be either during the events of the Lord of the Rings trilogy or shortly after, in the time when Aragorn is king. I'm not sure how a main quest line will fit around being set during the Lord of the Rings, so maybe the second time frame will be better, but we will have to wait and see. One final thing I wanted to discuss was the controversy around this announcement. Even though there is a lot of excitement, there is also a lot of doubt in people's minds, specifically about Amazon games. They don't have the best track record. Amazon has actually previously announced the new Lord of the Rings game, which they subsequently cancelled in 2021 due to disputes over working with Leyu, who was aiding in development and was acquired by Tencent. Hopefully this time around there is no company politics that caused the game to be dropped and we can actually get to a later stage in development and see some gameplay. A lot of people have also commented on this new game being associated with the new Rings of Power TV show. Whatever your opinions of the show, I think we can dismiss these doubts as the article states the game is unrelated to the show. Personally, I'd imagined a new Lord of the Rings game being released by a bigger publisher than Amazon Games, but beggars can't be choosers. All we can do is hope that we get a well-polished game that looks good and stays true to the lore. And that is it for this video, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about this announcement and what direction you want the game to go in. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel for more gaming news and updates. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now, guys.